Welcome to the soap that is my life. We've been talking about the multiverse and parallel dimensions, for a while now. We discussed the science behind it, and we learned it's based on theory and essentially unproven. And yet we use this to explain the Mandela effect. So isn't it about time we give some evidence that parallel dimensions exist? Well, here's the deal. There actually isn't any real evidence out there. However, there are things that can point to the fact that other realities exist. Let's start with something that could be called a theory. Oh no, not another one of these. Oh yeah, just bear with me. Eternal return, also known as eternal reoccurrence, is the hypothesis that the whole universe, all existence and energy, has been reoccurring and will reoccur, and this an infinite number of times across infinite space and time. So everything we are seeing and experiencing already happened an infinite amount of time, and it will go on forever and ever and ever and... Okay, I guess we just ended up in a bad copy then. The first real possible evidence is ghosts and shadow people. Many people interpret these as proof for an afterlife, but what if they came from parallel worlds, close to ours, and shifted into this reality just enough to through a breach between the universes to be seen? Just imagine you yourself might have briefly bridged a gap like that and be seen as a ghost in some other reality. And then there are those EVPs, or electronic voice phenomena, that pick up voices from ghosts. And many people within the ME community hear music that seems to be coming from nowhere. All this could indicate the existence of parallel realities. There are a number of artifacts found around the world that are pretty hard to explain. Let's just take one example. The London hammer, also known as the London artifact, is a hammer made from iron and wood found by a couple, Max Hahn and his wife, near London, Texas in 1936. It has been identified as a typical American tool manufactured in the region around the 1800s. So what's so special about it? Well, it was found encased in a 400 million year old rock. Now, how do you explain that? Did it maybe end up here from another reality? Could it be possible that dreams are but a portal to other realities? Little is known about the brain and even less about dreams. Moreover, dreams can be in color and use all the senses. Mystics and medicine men from tribes all over the world have claimed this for centuries and sometimes use hallucinogenic drugs to open these portals up. There are several things scientists attribute to misfiring in the brain. Deja vu is the strong sensation that an event or an experience you have has already happened in your past, yet you know you never did this. It is sometimes coming to a place you have never been to and yet it feels familiar. Jamais vu is the opposite, going through a familiar situation but you don't recognize it. Presque vu is the intense feeling of being on the brink of an epiphany, an insight or a revelation without achieving it. Déjà entendu is the feeling you have heard something before you never did, and déjà vécu is when you even remember details from an experience you never had. All these things could indicate the existence of parallel universes. And then there is alter vu phenomena. This is when someone remembers their reality different from what it is. Sound familiar? Well, let me give you two examples here, which really might sound familiar to you. On the morning of July 16, 2008, a Spanish woman by the name of Lorena Garcia Gordo woke up to find that her bedsheets had changed. She headed to her office job she had for the past 20 years. The car and the commute to work seemed all familiar, but then she arrived at work and her colleagues seemed to all be different people, and the name on her office door had been replaced by another. Her driver's license, credit cards and work ID seemed right. She went to a doctor but nothing was wrong with her. She then called her new boyfriend of 4 months, but somebody else answered. She eventually found out that her boyfriend and his son, whom she developed a relationship with, never existed. She became convinced she just went to sleep one day and then woke up in another reality. The next story I'm gonna shorten a little bit. I'll put up a link to the vid of my other channel at the end of this one. In 1954, in Haneda Airport, Japan, a neatly dressed middle-aged man arrived claiming he came from a land of Toret, that he later told existed 1,000 years, where now Andorra resides. He had a legitimate passport with him from Toret and it showed he had traveled through Europe. He also had currency from all over Europe in his wallet. The company he had a meeting at never heard of him. The hotel he mentioned did not have a reservation and the bank listed on his checkbook did not exist. He was taken to an hotel room that was guarded all night, yet in the morning he had disappeared. And his documents, which were held in the security office, disappeared as well. There is one other possible piece of evidence. As much as we use parallel worlds as a possible explanation for the Mandela effect, it could just well serve as an example for bleed-through from other realities. Now I know there are other possible explanations for all this, but I thought it would be interesting to know and to ponder about. And whether you believe there are parallel dimensions or not is all up to you. But I would love to hear your thoughts on this, so please leave some comments if you like. I hope you enjoyed my vid, and from my reality to yours, I hope to see you next time. Bye.